Reddit stories. My fiance wants to skip this year's Christmas family vacation because our baby is due. I always go to Florida with my family for Christmas. We've been doing it for 5 years, and every other year, I come back before my fiance does to spend Christmas Day with my family. But this year is different. It's the first time in a long time that all my siblings can be there at the same time. However, my fiance has major FOMO, and it's making things tricky. His family always goes to their vacation home in Florida for about a month during the holidays, and they want him to go too. Even though we're expecting our first baby on December 30th, his family insists that he goes and comes back on the 28th, saying it's ample time before the baby is due. He already bought a ticket for December 15th to 28th because his parents really want him there, and his siblings will also be going. This bothers me more than I thought. Pregnancies can be unpredictable, especially in the last trimester, and if anything happens leading up to the due date, I need him there. My parents are away until December 26th, and my friends have their families, so I'll be all alone. Another small reason is that I'll be spending Christmas by myself, and even though it's not the main issue, it still makes me sad. He's been going to Florida for Christmas since he was 15, and there will be many more trips after the baby is born. I just don't understand why he has to go this year. Every time I try to talk about it, we end up having an uncomfortable fight about my expectations versus putting his parents first. I don't even bring it up anymore. His parents are nice to me, but I feel like they don't see any problem, and it makes me question if I'm going crazy. Update 1, 5 days later. Subscribe for more Reddit stories. I'm sorry I didn't update sooner. Everything has been really overwhelming, and I'm trying to deal with a lot. The good news is that my mom arrived home yesterday. I told her everything, and her sister, who used to be a nurse, insisted on coming too. I'm so thankful to have them here, even though it's a bit hard to get my feelings across because of a cultural barrier. My mom is from Hong Kong, and without going into too many details, the grandparent situation was a big emergency. But she has siblings and my dad, who is staying there right now. As for my fiance, I scheduled a virtual appointment with him and my OBGYN to update her and told her all about the situation. Just like all of you, she was really shocked and strongly recommended that he shouldn't travel during this time. She said, "In my professional opinion, I'm going to very strongly recommend you reconsider your plans. In my personal opinion, I'm going to insist it." I probably should have told her about his travel plans earlier. After that, he's still going but changing his dates, so he'll be back on the 22nd. There will be one day when he overlaps with his siblings. His mom isn't too happy he won't be there for Christmas, and she suggested he fly back later on the 25th so he can spend part of Christmas Day with them, but he said no. It's still not ideal for me, and my mom and aunt have insisted on talking to his parents, so we've scheduled a call with them later today. I talked to my best friend too after reading some of your responses and PMs. She was really upset and told her husband that she doesn't care if it's on Christmas Day. If I go into labor, she will drop everything and be there. She's also been kept up to date about who will be with me while he is away and will be visiting. I know there were a lot of questions about the family, but it's too much to write out. Yes, I know they don't treat me completely as family, and there have always been small things that bothered me. My mom will be addressing all of this in the call. Yes, I know his mother must be aware that he shouldn't be leaving me at 37 weeks. I update her after all my appointments, so I know she knows this too. I don't know why she's saying it's okay, but my mom will be talking to her about it. Some of you wondered how they can afford to go to Florida for a month. His parents are retired and spend their winters there. His siblings and sister-in-law have 9-to-5 jobs that are partly remote, so they can work from Florida. My fiancé is a gig worker, so he can set his own schedule. Obviously, their schedules don't always align. I haven't shown him this thread yet. Right now, it's just one more thing I don't want to deal with. I may in the future, but for now, I suggested we go to therapy before setting a wedding date, and he agreed. I am also seeking counseling for myself. Lastly, I'm incredibly grateful to all of you who took time to respond, offer to visit me, and bring me food. I've never posted on Reddit before, but I appreciate the support you've all shown me. Thank you all so much. I'll try to update again after the baby comes. It might be a while, but please know that I am safe and have a lot of love surrounding me. Have a safe and happy holidays. Oh, and I'm expecting a girl. Reddit stories. My parents beat and never loves me because I was an accidental child, and now 8 years later, they want to reconnect. So, I'm 24 now, and I spent a long time away from my parents. I want to tell you about it, but it might be a bit long. I'm the youngest of 3 kids. I have 2 older brothers, one who is 34 and the other who is 36. I wasn't exactly planned, I was kind of an accident, and my parents didn't try to hide that from me. They didn't really care about me. From as far back as I can remember, they would hit me for the smallest mistakes or throw things at me. They never showed me love, never came to any events, and never helped me with my schoolwork. I had to do everything on my own, washing my clothes since I was 8 and cooking my own food. I used to look at other families and wonder why mine wasn't like that. Then I realized that it was, but I just wasn't included. When I was 12, I knew I had to leave. I got my first job, delivering newspapers for 3 hours a day, and I started saving the money to buy the things I needed. At 14, I found a better job at a small grocery store that paid more for 4 hours, but I kept my newspaper job too. I was busy pretty much the whole day. My friends were the only ones who knew about this. Even though I didn't have love from my family, I considered my friends my family. At this point, my parents had completely stopped caring about me. I didn't even look at them, spending my time at friends' houses, at my job, or in the basement. I managed to save up quite a bit of money. I bought some things I needed, like a used smartphone and a used laptop. I explained my plan to my friends, and when I was 16, they even gave me some money and told me to text or call them every day. I had to break up with my first boyfriend, leave my friends behind, still had a year left of high school, and didn't have much money. But I still ran away. I admit, I stole some food from my parents' house, and I ended up in a small town in the cheapest apartment I could find. I got a job and tried to survive, knowing I couldn't stay there for long. I was a minor, and people would start looking for me. A few months later, I left that town too. I was 17 by then, and I knew that once I turned 18, I'd be free forever from them. Same thing again, arrived in another town, got another job, and once I turned 18, I decided to finish high school. Things were really hard, but I managed to make some new friends, got a new boyfriend, let's call him Dean, and a better life than I ever had. Eventually, I bought a small apartment with my savings, got into a community college, studied a short career, got a good job, and stayed in the town. Maybe I could have done better with a better family, but I'm still happy with what I've achieved. Dean and I got married, and now we both have good paying jobs. We're saving up for the future, because we want to have our own restaurant. He's a chef, and even though I'm not, I worked as a waitress for a while and know how things work in a restaurant. With all that context, I've been receiving calls from an unknown number for a couple of weeks. I've been rejecting the calls, but when I realized it was the same number, I chose to pick up. I didn't recognize the man talking to me, but it was my older brother, Ian. He asked me how things were going, and I said they were better than ever. He explained that my parents want to reconnect and hear from me, but I refused completely. I told him they were dead to me, and when he kept insisting, I hung up. They've been insisting for months. I blocked multiple phone numbers, Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts, and emails, but it's just not enough. They keep insisting. I put my accounts on private, but the phone calls kept coming. I ended up changing my number, and I haven't received anything since then. But my friends from home are telling me that they're bombarding their phones with calls and texts. I know this could be over if I agree to meet with them, but I just don't want to. It's a closed stage of my life. Am I the one being unreasonable? P.S. English is not my first language, sorry if there are any mistakes. And I know some people might think this story is fake, but it's 100% true. It's actually more common than people think in my country, and I've realized this over time. Update, 2 weeks later, subscribe for more Reddit stories. First of all, thanks for all the comments on my post. I wasn't expecting people to side with me that much, and it really means a lot. Well, a lot happened a week after I posted here. I ended up calling my older brother Ian, and I agreed to a meeting with him at a restaurant in my town. I went with my husband Dean and my best friend Anna. To my surprise, he didn't bring his parents. We talked, and he asked why I didn't want to meet my parents. After he insisted, I ended up confessing everything. He apologized for not being able to do anything about it since he was away and didn't think my parents would do something like that. I told him it wasn't his fault and asked why my parents suddenly wanted to meet with me. He responded that he talked with them, and they just said they wanted their baby girl back. I don't remember a single time when they didn't call me something like a little brat, and they didn't understand why I didn't talk to them. I just told him that can't be true. He ended up telling me he'll try to find out the real reason. Just a day later, Ian called and explained the real reason. After insisting, he managed to get the truth from them. They were in a hard spot financially, and they needed a lot of money. I don't know why, but they believed that I would give it to them. Ian told me he was really offended by this, and he said he would be cutting them off for good because now he's seeing who they really are. He asked me to keep in contact, and I agreed. I chose to unblock my parents to send them a voicemail. I basically laughed at them for believing that I would give them money. I told them how awful parents they were and sent them an ironic good luck with their debts and with their lives. I advised them not to mess things up with the only kid they have left, and that they will probably die alone, and everyone will find out how awful they are. I blocked them again, and all I know is that they listened to it and were really angry. My friends from home are in the process of filing for restraining orders, and really fast, they started to get a bad reputation. Rumors fly in the towns.